Hello, it's Jason here at Stuffer City talking about HYROX Fort Lauderdale. February 24th, 2024. Talk a little bit about the preparation, the warm-up zone. We'll go over the entire event, the race from start to finish, each of the rock zones, and as well, talk a little bit about how to train and prepare for your next HYROX race. Okay, let's start with our warm-up area. What you see here is me on a rower doing some rowing. There's a lot of equipment that they're gonna have at these events for you to warm up on. Now, it will be variable to the venue. I've been at venues that have had everything from runners to wall balls, rowers, ski ergs, you name it, sleds to push, sleds to pull. I've been at venues that haven't had runners. I've been at venues that haven't had a whole lot, but they've had enough to get you and other racers there prepared. But you'll see here they've got the new equipment even that is out on the courses, which is really good looking. In any case, hey, use the warm-up area. All right? Whether or not you got to go run out on the convention center concourse, if there's not a runner there particularly for you, hey, you got to get some running in, get your heart rate up, get sweaty, get warmed up. You got a big race coming up, so be sensible with that and warm your body up. They got the warm-up area there for you. So before the race now, they are on time nearly all the time, and I would say every time I've been to a race, every HYROX heat has started to the second on time, and so that's cool. That's very cool. But if you're somebody who's late to these things, then you're going to be late to your heat. Don't do that. Show up on time, get warmed up, and be there for the countdown. In any case, the countdown happens, and then you are on to the course you go. Now, your first kilometer, especially for those of you who are participating in your first HYROX race or real competitive event, use this first kilometer to settle into the race. You're going to see a lot of guys who are primed and ready to go, and they're going to take off into the red early. If that's your style, by all means, don't let me stop you. However, this is something that's new to you. As you get off onto that first lap or the first kilometer, check your heart rate, check your pace. All right? If you notice your heart rate is skyrocketed, settle down a little bit. If you notice your pace is well ahead of a pace you're used to holding, i.e. you're running a lot faster than you usually do, hey, even if you feel okay, slow down. Right? Also, know how many laps you're supposed to run to complete your kilometer. All right? Each venue will be a little bit different. And so knowing how many laps you have to run is important so you don't go in too early and definitely not too late. So now you see I'm getting onto the ski erg. A couple things about the ski erg. Now for training for it, I would say there are other targets on the course, other workout rock zones that are more advantageous, meaning you'll get more time back with the energy investment you put in the training for something like the sled, maybe even the walking lunges or the wall balls, only because when I look at the times on our ski erg, the time delta, the difference there between the fastest and the slowest, maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes tops on something like the ski or the row erg. When you look at something like the sled pull, the difference in time between your fastest and your slowest is remarkable, up to 7-8 minutes just in difference. Your fastest sled pulls in the men's pro around 3-ish minutes, give or take, where your slowest could be 8 minutes, 9 minutes for some guys if they're having a tough time with the grip. So that's a lot of time you could get back by training some of those functions involved in something like a sled pull or a sled push. So take that for what it's worth, just my coaching sense there. But in any case, I get done with my ski erg and then you're back onto another kilometer. So now we have 50 meters of sled pushing. The weight load in particular, specific weight loads, it's almost irrelevant because it's just so heavy, but it is about 445 pounds for the men. I think it's 335-ish pounds for the women. Again, I could be off a couple of pounds there, and this is for the pro division. But just realize it's heavy. At first glance, when you first get up to it, if this is your first event, the sled is going to feel nearly immovable. And so you're going to have to be strong in order to take on these pro division weight loads. The open division weight loads aren't exactly simple. They are also heavy. So when you get onto this course, you have to have some strength in your body, and you have to be willing to express it accordingly. In terms of training for the sled, front squats are going to come in handy. Front-loaded split squats or anything that is single leg. Walking lunges with front-loaded kettlebells or dumbbells or even a front-loaded barbell while walking will be helpful. And of course, pushing a sled. Now, you don't want to go directly into pushing a heavy sled if you don't have some of these strength bases already developed. It's not to say you don't want to practice the sled, maybe not at such a heavy weight, but you want some of these fundamentals of squatting and lunging in your movement repertoire, so to speak, before expecting a whole lot out of yourself on a heavy sled push like what you'll see in HYROX. There are some techniques. You see one gentleman pushing his sled sort of like a press with the upper body. You see me back there in the black shorts, white shoes with these underhook method. That's been slightly more advantageous, I've experienced, as I've tried a couple of different techniques. And you'll see, from what I've seen at least, more of the top elite 15 style athletes as well are utilizing that underhook. And you find what works best for you, but there are some techniques available. In either case, there's your 50 meters of sled pushing. And once you're done with that, of course, we're back into our kilometer. And then we're into our third event, which is our sled pull. As I mentioned during the little ski erg thing, your sleds are a place to make up a lot of time. You'll see even that gentleman behind me a little bit as he's trying to wrap that rope around his hands there. I can expect he's going to have a long time to work that sled because he's got to pull it down and back twice. It's 50 meters as well. And you could see his hands back there slipping the whole time he's trying to pull. You got to train for something like the sled pull. Your grip strength is going to be a factor. Your upper body pulling from a horizontal pattern is going to be very effective. But just being able to lift heavy things, I can't express that enough because it's really a whole body pulling style of movement. So if you haven't done a lot of heavy power cleans, that may be helpful for you. But just pure grit strength is what comes into play when you're looking at something like a sled pull. So work everything from grip to core strength, leg strength, power clean ability, to just gritting it out. It's an outstanding event. It's a tough challenge. And once you complete it, you're back on to a kilometer. This will be your 4th kilometer, which leads into your 4th rock zone, the burpee broad jump. It is 80 meters, and it is another movement where efficiency is going to come into play. Breathing efficiently, moving efficiently. Your range of motion comes into play here. Being able to stay low, squat low, sort of spring out of a low squat if you're able to get a good broad jump. Now, speaking subjectively here, this is the apex to some extent, the peak of intensity for myself on this event. I've gotten through the sled push, which is tough. The sled pull could be challenging. And then coming into a burpee broad jump for 80 meters is taking my heart rate sky high. You could even see some sloppy broad jump burpeeing going on here with regard to me almost leaving off one foot. The judges will correct you, as I was corrected on this course, for leaving off one foot. Now, how do we train for something like the burpee broad jump? Of course, doing the burpee broad jump ad nauseum will be helpful to some extent, but you also want to break it down a little bit. So becoming a more efficient broad jumper, having a better box jump and being able to jump higher will become efficient. This is an explosive movement coming out of that broad jump. And then doing more burpee, having a stronger upper body horizontal pushing power will become helpful. And then, of course, is having that energy system built. Being able to work through that lactate buildup in the muscles. So working this energy system of doing a dramatic amount of burpees very fast will work that energy system a little bit. But this is an event that can take the life out of you. So just be prepared to gut it out 1 rep at a time. And of course, follow the movement standards. So you get through the burpee broad jump, you're halfway through the course, you go on to your next kilometer, and then we've got the row. If you notice, the race begins, the first half of the race begins with a ski erg, the second half of the race begins with a row erg. And so from my perspective, this is an opportunity to help me get my heart rate down. In this particular instance, I guess the feet straps were set for like a full midget. And so I had to increase the height of the foot strap. And then also the fan belt was set, I think, at like a 4 or a 3. And so I set that up to a 7 right at the base, where a 6 and a 7 set. Training for the row, similar to the ski. This is something that you will get better at the more you do it. And it's a great tool, in fact, to not just build up the ability to do rowing, but it's a great cardiovascular tool. You can do some zone 2 training in it, the more efficient you become at it. And it's great for building whole body power. So aside from just getting better at rowing, I think the rower is a great training tool to build up other adaptations as well. So as I talked about the margins on the ski erg and the row erg being slightly smaller in terms of how much time you can gain back on your finish time, this is something you want to attack the more expert level and the more elite you become at racing. As your times become sub 70, sub 65 minutes on a pro course, then you're going to want to start looking at every way possible to get a couple seconds off here, a couple seconds off there, in order to start building your time down closer to that 60-minute frame. And this is where attacking your ski erg and your row erg will prove beneficial. But now I'm off on my 6th kilometer now, which will take me into my 6th event, which is the farmer's carry. So I think I was tired at this point in the race. I likely wasn't nourished as great as I could have been going into this race. Nonetheless, notice I'm sort of taking my time, more time than I think I'm taking, in fact. I want to get in there, get those kettlebells in my hand as quickly as possible, and then get onto that course. You can see again, I'm taking way too much time here. So this is some feedback for myself in terms of how to get in and out of these rock zones, and I'm just taking way too much time. So don't take this much time. In any case, your farmer's carry, it's a 200-meter deal. Something I've noticed the HYROX race coordinators doing is setting up more reasonable lanes for your burpee broad jump, for your farmer's carry, and even the walking lunge. Meaning there were times when you would feel like you're going through this long serpentine that never ended, winding and moving around trying to get to your finish line on the 200-meter carry. Now it's a 50-meter down, 50-meter back. You do it 2 times. Similar with the walking lunge and the burpee broad jump, they're trying to make it just down and back. And so that is a little more convenient, though sometimes looking down a 50-meter stretch of walking lunges you still have to do could be demoralizing. But in any case, I found it useful on this particular course, and the new kettlebells, they're still 70 pounds. So take that for what it's worth. So there's light at the end of the tunnel coming out of the farmer's carry. You're on your 7th kilometer into your 7th event, which is the walking lunge. Okay, here I am at the walking lunge. And this is a challenging station, no question. Your lower limb, your lower extremities are going to be challenged to the max on this. 100 meters is a long way to lunge with a 66-pound sandbag for my pro men, 44 pounds for the pro women. In either case, you got to make sure that back knee touches on every rep. Don't stutter step, don't take them half fake steps, and ensure you're getting that full range of motion lunge on each and every rep. In terms of how to get through this as efficiently or effectively as possible, do your best to not stop. Stay out of your head. Try not to think about what it is you got to do. If you got to recover, notice your breathing. Take some exhales, get back into the lunging. This could crush you. All right, the legs, they're going to tremble. All right, this is a time where I notice a lot of people on the course may start to feel the cramp, whether it's along the inside thigh or the hamstring. You may start to feel that a little bit. Don't let it get in your head. All right, shake it out, keep moving, stay in your body. Don't get caught up in your head. As you can see here, this lunge is a long operation. All right, this is just a short little video clip, and you're probably sympathizing with me right now, understanding how much pain and suffering I'm in as you watch me lunge through here, because it is tough. Okay, but here's some hope. This is your final exercise before your final run, which is a good idea to sometimes drop into your mind from moment to moment. Hey, just keep on going. I got one more run after this going into my final Rock Zone event. So a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel at this point, though the legs are trembling. Some things you can consider going into this race in order to prepare you: doing a lot of barbell reverse lunges. Obviously, regular rec bag heavy lunges are going to help you, but some of the strength fundamentals of your lower limb strength is going to be effective as well. Bulgarian split squats, lunge squats, alternating barbell reverse lunges, things of that sort can really prepare you effectively for this walking lunge. And then I'm off on that final run, that final kilometer. Again, there's that light at the end of the tunnel. You know, some of you may at this point just be wishing to be done. I understand. I've been on the race course before, and that's been my mindset. I just want off this course. Some of you may be looking to push the envelope a little bit. You may see a PR on the horizon, and you're really starting to put in on that gas pedal, and hopefully that's your situation. I want the best for you in your race. But when you do get to those 100 wall ball shots, just be prepared to grit it out. There's no getting around at these 100. You are going to feel it. Now, there are those freaks who can get through these 100 unbroken, and congratulations to you. It will save you time. But if you can't do 100 unbroken, have some type of a strategy for getting through the 100 broken. Is it 20 at a time, 10 at a time? Doing your first couple sets at 15 and then down to 10. However it's going to happen, you would like it to be as planned as possible. You don't want to find yourself trying to put one wall ball shot together at a time, trying to work yourself to 100 when you burned yourself out a little too early in the game. So just be mindful of that as you get into it. 100 is a lot. It's more than you'd like it to be, but it's doable. You can do it. You can do it a little bit faster than you otherwise would with a little bit of a game plan. Some things to consider is your hands are probably going to get a little sweaty. The ball may get a little slick. So if you have the chance, use the chalk. This is also why some people will elect to use gloves. Keep the gloves nice and dry. They could serve you well on this particular Rock Zone event. But you'll get to 100 obviously faster if you're getting all the way down, getting the full range of motion reps so that you're not no rep, thus having to do more reps than 100. And so prepping for these wall ball shots, you want a baseline fundamental strength developed in terms of front squats, back squats, moving a fairly lightweight object. For the pro men, it's a 20-pound wall ball. Pro women, 14 pounds. Now that is by most measures a fairly light weight to move. For the amount of reps you're having to move it, it makes it even more challenging. So working these high rep volumes into your training program will be incredibly helpful. Now I know 100 reps of anything seems like a lot, but this is what you're going to be expected to do in your HYROX race. And so you're going to want to get those high volume of reps integrated into your training program one way or the other. You get across your finish line where a lot of good things are happening. A, you're done. A little bit of reprieve, you could let off the gas pedal, and you could see me searching for it here on the ground, but there's no comfort to be found, especially as you just get done. You're gonna have to let the pain slowly ease off thereafter. But also, your data, it's already marked. You already have your race metrics from start to finish, and every Rock Zone is already concluded. The moment you cross that finish line, you'll see your finish time right up there on that screen. It's cool to see. And so as you're getting across that finish line, you're getting your race results immediately, which is good. So that was my race. You may be wondering how I did. It was 73 minutes and I think 11 seconds. Put me in 5th in my age group. This is just a testament to how competitive this race is becoming. I've had worse races in the past that have got me on the podium. And now here I am PRing my race course and finding myself in 5th in my age group. And this is great to see. HYROX is a growing sport, it's growing rapidly. So it'll be exciting to see what we have in the future of this sport. All right, so we covered up the warm-up. We went through the race from start to finish. Talked about a little bit of some training and prep. Talked a little bit about how to prepare for the race itself. I hope this has been useful for you. If you have questions or comments, please go ahead, comment below, and I'll do my best to respond to those comments as effectively and as quickly as I can. Again, my name is Jason here at Suffer City, and until next time, be great.